So we just got our first look at the PS5 Pro, and that is it's coming with a hefty price tag, $700 at launch. I am so curious to hear y'all's opinion down in the comments below on this. Do y'all have any interest in the PS5 Pro? Are y'all picking this thing up? If so, why? If not, why not? I think I could kind of predict why people wouldn't be picking this thing up. And so my strategy, and we'll get into all the little details and shit here in a second, but just, kind of shooting the shit here. My plan was to possibly trade in my base PS5 to upgrade to a PS5 Pro, get back like $300 or whatever, and then put the remaining, I was thinking, maybe the remaining 300 towards a PS5 Pro. But it's looking like I would have to put a remaining 400 to the PS5 Pro. And at the end of the day, if you're really looking to upgrade, I guess it is what it is. It's an option, but I don't know, man. Coming without a disc drive, having, it does have the detachable disc drive, so people who prefer physical media can still use it. And it looks like that'll probably be Sony's plan moving into the next generation of hardware as well. So at least we're not having some weird all digital shit taken off here, but that $700 price tag, I think I'm gonna, until we see like in real time the new games coming out, what they can do on the PS5 Pro that they can't do on the base PS5, because I understand, the idea of this system be kind of being a mainly targeted for making sure that you can have your quality and performance modes running simultaneously. I get that. That is appealing to me, but I really want to see it running. I want to see some new games, some Death Stranding 2s, some Grand Theft Auto 6s, some big heavy hitters, some Wolverines. Like, let me see what that thing looks like running on a PS5 Pro versus a PS5, and then maybe we'll consider that. But I just can't. I am really shocked by that $700 price point. I know a lot of people out there were predicting it, so kudos to the people out there that predicted $699, because that is indeed what we got. And I'm sorry to continue on and on with this rant, but it is wild that, like, the PS4 Pro, when it launched at $399, which was the same price that the base PS4 launched at. And it feels really weird to charge $200 extra for a mid-gen upgrade. It's like, that is spooky to think about what the next full generation upgrade is going to cost. When we get to PlayStation 6, what is the price hike on that going to look like? It's just, it's fascinating that they think they can get away with this $700 price point. And I really don't know what I'm expecting in terms of reception for this thing. Like, I don't know if I'm expecting, because like the PlayStation Portal, I had never in my wildest dreams would I have expected that thing to do so well and sell out and be such a hot ticket item. But then you have the PSVR 2, which totally flopped. So it's, at least there is the example with the PSVR 2 that shows that people aren't just lining up to fucking immediately buy anything with the PlayStation logo on it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing this to PSVR 2. I do not in any way, shape, or form think this will perform as poorly as PSVR 2, even with this crazy price hike. But yeah, hit me in the comments. Hit me in the comments with all your thoughts. I'm very curious where people stand on this, because yeah, I just think that's a crazy move. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the details here for this system. It's launching November 7th. I think I said in my predictions video November 15th to get out there right before the holiday rush. So November 7th makes even more sense in my opinion. And also shout out to Shinobi602. He tweeted this out, all the details in a nice succinct manner, and got into the nitty gritty, went through the blog post, found all the good details and all of that shit. So I'll have that linked in the descriptions. But comes with a 2TB SSD, no disk drive, compatible with all PS5 accessories. So if you already have the detachable disk drive from the Slim model or whatever the hell they call it, that will work with the PS5 Pro. And like we talked about, it's being built with the goal to now play games in their quality graphics mode at 60 frames per second instead of needing the performance mode. Upgraded GPU, 67% more compute units than PS5. 28% faster memory, 45% faster rendering, advanced ray tracing 2 to 3 times faster, ray casting to provide better reflection and lighting, AI upscaling, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution uses machine learning to provide super sharp image clarity. PS5 Game Boost can automatically stabilize or improve the performance of 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games, enhance IQ and resolution on select PS4 games. Some PS5 Pro enhanced games will include Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, that'll be a good one. Dragon's Dogma 2, that actually needs a quite the quite the boost in performance. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, The Crew, Motorfest, The First Descendant, and The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and more. So I'm assuming that and more part is, I think we'll see more about this at the upcoming State of Play. I think we'll get, a good look at new upcoming games that we haven't seen yet, or games that we are on the horizon for 2025 and beyond, where we see a look at, it running on the PS5 versus it running on the PS5 Pro. And I think that's where we're really going to begin to understand what we're going to get out of this machine on a technical level. I appreciate all the jargon and the 2 to 3 times faster ray casting and the upgraded GPU, 67%, 45% faster rendering, 28% faster memory. Like, all of that shit is awesome, but let's see some of the heavy hitters, some of the upcoming heavy hitters running on a PS5 Pro and see exactly what that looks like. Because listen, I love the idea of going back to my back catalog, my backlog, whatever you want to call it, and replaying or playing for the first time games on the PS5 Pro and having, the ability to go in and have my performance mode and quality mode all merged together. But I think a lot of us have played those titles, and Horizon Forbidden West was already fucking beautiful. Ratchet & Clank was already super impressive. I don't really have the desire to go back to those just to have the added benefit of blending my quality and performance mode into one mode. And I can appreciate, what Mark Cerny was talking about with you seeing the more detailed fucking trees in Spider-Man 2, the shinier cars, it's definitely, games do look better on the PS5 Pro. The Last of Us 2 looked much better. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart looked much better. He was talking about it's about double the power of the base PS5 the PS5 Pro is. I can appreciate all that. But $700 worth of appreciation? I don't know if I appreciate it that much, man. But I'm just not the biggest technical guy in general. Like, I know people get up in arms about 30 frames per second. You saw that with Avowed and with Starfield and a bunch of games. Dragon's Dogma 2 and I don't know, dude. Dragon's Dogma 2 is probably, it's up there. It's top 3. My top 3 favorite games of the year. Starfield was my top 3 favorite games of the year last year. Avowed's one of my most anticipated games for next year. I don't really, give me a stable 30 frames per second. That doesn't really bother me. Plague Tale Requiem, loved that. I think that was my number 2 game of the year in 2022. So I'm really looking to get great narrative experiences, great gameplay experiences, and I understand that 60 frames per second can increase the immersion, or increase especially from the gameplay experience. 60 frames per second can make it a much smoother experience. But really, at the end of the day, my number one priority is the game good? Is the story good? Are the mechanics solid? And if it's 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, of course I would prefer 60 frames per second, but if I'm getting a really damn solid experience out of 30, I'm not pitching a fit. Also, a bit of a side note, but really interesting stat about the 3/4 of people choosing performance mode. That really shocked me when Mark Cerny said that. I've heard for a while that people choose quality mode or fidelity mode more so day in performance mode. So to hear that that's wrong, and I assume they have correct data on that, that is actually really, really shocking to me. So I do see the impetus, the reason for pushing so hard in this direction. But once again, just the non-technical side of me, I can't necessarily jump out of my seat for the examples that were shown today with the some of the older games that we've already played. I will say though, the 2TB SSD upgrade, getting an additional 1TB, that is a pretty big upgrade, and I do run into issues all the time with my base PS5 where I'm just having to delete shit that I don't really want to delete because I'm having to make room for more fucking, I'm having to clear out the storage to make room for the new game that's a fucking 150 gigabytes to download and all that crazy shit. The advanced ray tracing, that's one that I really want to see play out. Like, I want to see that in real time with my own eyes, playing the game, hands-on experience with it, because ray tracing is a feature that was touted so much at the launch of this, the base PS5 launch, and how many games really utilize ray tracing much at all? So yeah, once again, man, hit me in the comments down below with your thoughts. I'm really, really curious to hear what you guys think. I would say I'm pretty comfortably in the I can wait on this camp. I don't think I'm going to be making the upgrade unless, I don't even know what PS5s resell for. I guess I could look that up real quick. Honestly, that's not awful. On GameStop's website for the Pro members, you can get up to $385 for store credit for a PS5, for just a base PS5, the disc edition. So I mean, you're still gonna have to pony up a little bit over $300 to make the upgrade, but that's not too awful. Like, really, the detachable disc drive, that's the thing that's putting me off. Like, if there was just a regular disc version of the PS5 Pro, and if if it wasn't DRM dependent, if I could get kind of the same experience where I'm not forced to, have any internet connectivity to set up the console or anything like that, and then it's only a $300 upgrade on top of it, I don't know. I don't think I'd really be so against that, but I just don't want to get rid of what could possibly be, and I would say likely be, the last non-DRM dependent PlayStation console. Like, I want to keep that PS5 console that doesn't have any of that built-in garbage. But if I'm being totally 100% honest with you guys, if Grand Theft Auto 6, if we get a trailer for GTA 6 and it's, you see that bad boy running it at 4K 60 looking smooth as shit with environmental density that is not even close to being replicated on the base PS5, and if that thing is looking super, super slick on the PS5 Pro compared to the base PS5, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like I have all the resilience in the world, and then I can definitely be pressured into making the upgrade there. But it would have to be for a game like GTA 6, and you would have to be able to see like real drastic differences in the base PS5 version and the PS5 Pro version. So I think right now I would say I'm comfortably in the waiting camp, but I'm also not. I could be swayed. I could potentially be swayed depending on upcoming games, like going back and playing The Last of Us 2 in a better version, and Ratchet and Horizon and all that. I can pass on all that. It's really going to depend on what Judas and Wolverine and GTA 6 and Tsushima 2, what are those games looking like on the Pro versus the base console, and I'll make my decision depending on that. But right now I think I'm pretty comfortably in the I'll wait camp, and possibly just in the I'll pass camp altogether, because I never upgraded last generation. Like, I never bought a PS4 Pro. I never really saw the reason to do so, and I would say in that generation there was much more of a reason to do so, because you were getting a lot more games running at 1080-60 on the PS4 Pro compared to the base PS4, where you pretty much had to settle for 30 for almost all of your games. That more so than ever, I am really wanting to become a Nintendo fan. I wish I had interest in their first party software, but I want to support that company for how, they can be very anti-consumer in a lot of ways, but just how committed they seem to be to the digital or to the physical format, to actually owning your games and having the game on the cartridge, the entire game, booting it up, ready to play, no patches needed, like all of that shit. It makes me really want to support that company. So I'm more than anything at this point, I'm curious to see what the Switch 2 can do to get me in the door. I think I'll be saving my dollar bills until we see a little bit more on the Switch 2. So I think I'm gonna pass on the PS5 Pro for now. Hit me in the comments down below with your thoughts on this whole event, the whole ordeal, the whole price point, whatever you want to talk about with the PS5 Pro. Let me know.